Vision 2050, a podcast brought to you by Hamann Benson, a leading company in the field of impact and ESG investment. In each episode, we share our insights and predictions on the future of industries. For artificial intelligence to the role of big data in the workplace. Well, cover the most exciting and relevant topics in the field. So sit back, relax, and join us on a journey to the future, as seen through the eyes of the experts at Hamann Benson. When recruiting, objective data on a candidate is rare. The recruitment process remains on the surface, and many managers do not try to understand the functioning and expectations of the potential recruit. In this game of deception, it is the one who can best manipulate his audience who wins. But recruiting this way can only lead to poor results. Studies showed 36% of permanent contracts are broken in the first year of the contract, and this figure rises to 45% among young employees under 24 years old. The primary reason for termination is resignation. 16% follow. Closely by the end of the trial period, 12%, and 13% of contracts are even terminated before the end of the trial period. In its study on the failure rate of the hiring process, Mozart Consulting confirms the figure for the breaking of trial periods. 1 out of 7 permanent contracts is not confirmed at the end of the trial period. 71% of human resources directors indicate that they have already made a mistake during a recruitment. Failed recruitment is not exceptional in the working world. A figure that is difficult to accept given the cost of recruitment within a company. On average, the cost of a failed recruitment is estimated between 20 zero-year and 200 zero-year. This will depend on different parameters such as the level of responsibility of the position, its nature, the time the candidate has spent in the position, but also the remuneration involved. In order to compensate for these shortcomings in recruitment, new recruitment methods have been appearing for several years. The candidate must be tested on his skills and qualities in a global way, that is to say professional but also social. New technologies are a major asset for recruiters to dust off the process and thus try to limit the degree of uncertainty in recruitment as much as possible. The resume as we have known it for several decades is obsolete. The whole person is much more important than a few typed lines. Who is this person bring to us as an individual? What can this person bring to us as an individual? What are his professional and social qualities? Will she be able to interact effectively in her new work environment? The new generation recruitment must be based on these questions and use the technological tools that will allow the best efficiency. Pre-selection interviews using video have become a common practice. The recruitment site MediaJob states that the number of candidates who interviewed via deferred video has thus increased quickly by 250%. This new way of recruiting has several advantages. First of all, it is a faster way to screen candidates, but it is also a significant saving on the costs related to this recruitment. By using video recruitment, a recruiter can see 10 candidate profiles per hour. The candidate has a few minutes to give a visual, sound, and behavioral overview of his or her profile, and the recruiter can decide whether or not to accept the candidate's application. The deferred video interview takes place between the reception of the resume and physical meeting. 82% of the recruiters declare that video recruitment represents a considerable saving of time and not negligible, since it is 70% less time devoted to the pre-selection of the candidates. In the vast majority of cases, the candidate is confronted with a series of unexpected questions asked by a software program whose answers are timed. The system also makes it possible to detect atypical profiles whose qualities are not highlighted. in a traditional resume, but which can sparkle in a video. This recruitment system is hybrid. It combines video technology and human analysis. But a new type of recruitment called predictive is entrusted to the machine in its entirety. EasyRecruit is working on developing a predictive algorithm based on artificial intelligence to improve recruitment. According to them, 90% of communication is nonverbal. The company seeks to analyze not the words used by the candidate, but the way they act. Gesture, intonation, silence, volume. After each video, a grade and a ranking are given to the candidate according to his performance to help the recruiter decide whether or not to extend the recruitment process with a physical interview. This way, the candidate's abilities are materialized. It is no longer a random impression that will decide the incorporation of the candidate to a position within the company. Some companies go even further by using big data and artificial intelligence to recruit future employees. This new concept of recruitment is in full swing and makes it possible to select people who have a high probability of performing well and being committed to the company, and even to ensure that their mood is compatible with the manager, explains David Bernard, the director of Assess First, a firm specializing in this type of recruitment. Assess potential. Assess First asks applicants to complete 3 tests, one on agility, another on motivation, and a third on personality. Thanks to this mechanism, the company saves its clients time during the pre-selection process and thus speeds up the recruitment process. MESS speeds up the recruitment process. Mechanism also makes it possible to detect new aptitudes. It allows the company to stand out from similar profiles, especially for young graduates, by putting the main lines of a resume, such as education and professional experience, in the background. Assess First allows candidates with a typical or less appropriate backgrounds to showcase their skills, abilities, and personality. The processes developed by Assess First and EasyRecruit enable a precise mapping of candidates. It is possible to describe more accurately where the candidate's strengths and weaknesses lie in relation to the position they are applying for. These tests performed by the machine, therefore, give a more complete overview of the candidate. The candidate could therefore be given several marks for different characteristics or skills. Similar practices already exist in some industries. At Brigade, a startup specializing in last-minute recruitment in the restaurant and hotel industry, each worker is rated at the end of his or her mission. In video games, like FIFA, the most famous football game, that is what it is used for the evaluation of a potential recruit. Detailed and complete card is available, and it is possible to know the exact skills of the desired player. This allows you to decide objectively whether or not the player meets all the criteria that were set beforehand. The recruitment process is thus pragmatic to the maximum. The advantage is readability of the information, which ease the recruiter's quick decision. The world of games is a new source of inspiration in the recruitment of candidates. Plato, philosopher, you can know more about someone in a single hour of play than you can in a year of conversation. According to this principle, the game would be conducive to revealing the innate skills of individuals. The game would allow us to behave more freely than a discussion, but also more closely to our daily behavior. Concordia University has shown in a study that certain psychological traits are reflected in their game avatars. The online game World of Warcraft has been one of the most popular games among gamers for almost 2 decades. During this time, about 10 million years have already been simulated between players in this game. This is a huge amount of data. The scientists conducted a study with a panel of WoW players, trying to determine to what extent their real personality could influence the way they play in this immersive world. According to the authors of the study, many behavioral keys emerged as they analyzed the individual's play. According to this study, the results show that our personality persists when we put on our virtual body.
Online video. Games are in fact a mirror of the personality of their users. We reveal ourselves while playing. We're more instinctive, not
trying to please others, but rather to conform to our own expectations. We follow our impulses, the ones that define our nature, which results in revealing our gifts, abilities, and flaws. The qualities of an individual will show up much more easily in a game. The game-based recruitment concepts have already been developed by several companies. Peugeot has developed a card game called Start and Box. Thanks to this card game, recruiters and candidates transform the interview into an enthusiastic exchange. During the interview, the recruiter has 43 cards to play with, which he or she can use as he or she sees fit according to the 6 themes proposed: experience, skills, personality, motivation, curiosity, practical information, startup, and out of the box. Thanks to this game system, the recruiter can ask the candidate about skills other than those usually discussed during a conventional interview. The candidate even has the opportunity to become a player in the recruitment process. The candidate has 9 cards to interact with the interviewer. They can express their emotional state or ask questions about the startup they're applying for. This is a great step forward and a fun way to design the interview. Mm-hmm. The startup Origamics offers companies to recruit through role-playing games. The scoring grid and its modalities are elaborated beforehand with the client company in order to meet the expectations of the company wishing to recruit as closely as possible. The game is divided into several stages, including the detection of evidence in the cross, checking of troubling elements, and the cross-checking of troubling elements. Each stage is scored by the Ergonomics staff, who give an overall verdict on the performance of the candidates. The company, My Serious Game, offers a complete range of customized, high-end, turnkey digital training courses, all based on the principle of the game. Clever mix between a consulting and training firm, digital services company, and communication agency. It has all the assets to develop an effective recruitment system around the game.